Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the 60XP
Love 60XP!
Halloween edition. I apologize, folks, if your ears just got blasted like mine, thanks to Zero.
Sorry if you're wearing headsets, but yeah. I'm excited. Tell me what tell the audience why I'm excited. Six.
Was that Timmy? Was that Timmy?
That's Well, tell the audience why I'm excited.
Why you're excited?
Yes.
It's a good question. Why are you excited?
Are you about to announce what we're doing for October, right? We're having this big thing that we're starting this month.
Yes, it's this big foundation where you can send us money for. No, I'm kidding. It's gonna be the Halloween theme all October. So today is gonna be our first episode, and we're gonna be talking throughout the whole month of October, movie, horrors, horror games, anything related to Halloweeny stuff. Maybe we'll even give you candy.
Ooh,
Maybe.
yes.
But it's all gonna be Halloween related. So sit back, relax, enjoy, have a cold one, and listen to our tales of movies and games as we bring you the Halloween Extravaganza 60XP.
Well, that's the excitement I'm looking for right there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You're not getting more excitement out of me from that. I'm spent after that, man. But yes, guys, today on this show, we're going to be talking about a movie trilogy from Netflix created by R.L. Stein. Did I say the name right?
R.L. Stein, yes.
I have a little difficulty pronouncing the R.
I think they're R.L. Stein's known for some book that was made in the 90s. I forgot what they're called. I remember the books kind of gave me goosebumps. I just can't get the name of the book. But yeah, it was pretty worldwide known. So I was excited to hear that R.L. Stein kind of they wrote the movie, right? Or
he wrote the books.
He wrote it. Oh, he wrote. Okay.
And it's based on the books. Zero's already lost in the world of mystery.
Yes. I'm so excited to hear what happens. Learn so much about this.
Now, keep in mind, folks, Zero is a little skeptical about this first entry on this trilogy. We'll find out why throughout the episode. But to set you up and get you going on this first part of the trilogy called Fear Street 1994.
Part one.
Basically, this movie, it focused in a part, the focus is on a town with a terrible history. I'm going to set you up where it happens, and we'll take it from there, folks. You'll follow us on this little ride. The town is called Shady Side, and is infamously known for different murders across decades. Not centuries, decades.
So it happens in the shade. That's why it's called Shady Side. I got it now. Clever.
Yes, we'll just go with that. That's the same. Unexplained and repressed by the community. I'm talking about Shady Side, not myself. No doubt that the low quality of life in this regard has made it an unappealing town, especially compared to the neighboring immaculate town of Sunnyvale, which is the complete opposite of Shady Side.
Holy crap. Is that what Buffy's at? An Angel and Spike? Why is it always sunny then?
Wasn't a sunny side on Buffy?
I thought it was Sunnyside. Was it Sunnyside? Oh, no, it wasn't Sunnyside. It was Sunnydale, wasn't it?
I think it was Sunnydale. So you got homework to do, Zero. You got homework to do, man. He calls himself a Buffy fan.
When did I ever say that? Man, I better let's do the other episodes to make sure I didn't say that. I didn't think I said that. You know what? I'll ask Sensei Google. Sensei Google knows all.
So you got double homework. You gotta look for the episode where you said it, and you gotta look now for Buffy. So it's two different towns. One is completely everything wrong that happens. The other one is happy-go-lucky. Look at me, always smiling. If you ask me, I'd rather be on shady side. Um,
Well, that's that's like more your personality right there. You'll probably
yeah,
melt being a
yes,
Sunnydale,
I
Sunnydale.
can
No, Sunnyville, whatever we call it.
couldn't be
Sunnyside.
around faking too much of a smile. Uh,
Yeah, that would scare people. But I believe, I guess in the introduction of the movie, they kind of like you said, but they explain like Shadyside death is very common. Like death, I don't want to say it happens every day, but it's just like a common theme where I think Sunnyside, I think there was like a record like they didn't have no deaths like in 30 years. I forgot what the exact year or date was, but they kind of showed that in the beginning of the movie, showing Shadyside, there's deaths everywhere, but on Sunnyside there wasn't much. I don't think there was any deaths in like a limited time. I forgot how much. I think it was like 30 years, something like that.
something like that. So basically, our heroes, the protagonists of the movie, they live in the shady sides area, and they find themselves uh, in the middle of what we can call probably a slashing history. After yet another massacre. So that's how Fear Street Part One starts. You know. So let's get right to it, man. When the movie starts, it just got right into a shopping mall where there's a girl in a bookstore, about to close, and she's fixing the books and everything. And then there's this dude that works at another store right there on the mall who's basically heading over to her, like trying to go out and stuff. And in
Ooh.
all fashion, he gets killed. And then, she's starting
Spoiler alerts. Speaking of
spoiling.
that, before we continue this, there will be a lot of spoilers that we will be discussing throughout this whole episode. So if you haven't yet, make sure you go on Netflix and watch this series, and then you come back to listen to our podcast to see if you agree with Sixx and myself.
Oh, I know you'll agree with me, but I know Zero is going to be problematic throughout the whole thing.
That's me. That's how I am.
So basically, it starts there on the shopping mall, right? And like in all typical 90s styles, like, let me have you think about another slasher movie, Scream. This
That's a
girl,
pretty well known movie, isn't it? Scream.
it
I think
is.
I heard about that.
And we'll talk about that at another moment. So this girl gets chased inside the bookstore in the mall by a killer, which
A
happens to
mass
be
killer.
a mass killer, which happens to be none other than the guy that was trying to, you know, escort her out of the mall and go out with her, which we'll get into why he was trying to kill her later. That's another little plot thing. Um, but yeah, that's how the whole movie opens, and it leaves you wondering. You think, oh, this is the protagonist. Hell no, she gets killed right there at the beginning, just like good old-fashioned 90s
Yeah,
horror slasher movies.
yeah. It reminds me so much of Scream and how they kind of do that when you think that the first character you see on there, and what's your favorite scary movie, and you're like, oh, so she's the main character. Nope, nope, nope. She just got stabbed in the heart. Oh, no, she get nope, nope, she's dead. And so yeah, they had the beginning like that they kill off what people would think is the main character, and then after that they kind of go over to the actual main character. So I thought was pretty interesting. They kind of followed that, and it was throughout that scene. It was very dark. It was I don't want to say like very scary, but it was very kept you out of your seat. Like you're like, oh, what's gonna happen throughout the whole thing, and how she's gonna make it? Is she gonna make it? And just all those. So it kind of puts you inside edge of your seat to make sure that it got you interested. At least to me, it did.
Are you talking about Fear Street? You finally given it credit?
So I'm just talking about the first 5 minutes of the episode or the series or movie, the first movie.
All right, folks.
And
It looks like he finally saw the way. He's liking the trilogy. Good.
we'll go over that more, but just to give you guys a heads up on this, it is a trilogy, so there's 3 parts to this movie that they have made on here. I think it all came out like I think all 3 of them came out within a month's time span. And so basically each movie kind of I'll go over it more later what I like about that, but basically the all 3 connect to each other. So we're gonna try to make sure we only really discuss the part 1 on here, and in part 2 we'll kind of our next episode in part 2 we'll kind of discuss more on like, hey, if, you know, this is what happened in part 1. Now it makes more sense because of this, because they have a lot of clues and I guess situations that happen in movies that make it have more sense throughout
Basically,
the
that
series
it
you watch.
ties everything together into the present,
That-
past, and future. I mean, past,
Yeah,
past, and present.
That's a simple way of saying that. I just wanted to make it more complicated. I know you guys want to hear, you know, the more detailed, the more complicated version of this. But yeah.
So basically, after that scene, taking it back to the mall, after we think it was the protagonist gets killed and it's not a protagonist, it's just one more body count. Our heroes, basically what happens is they disturb a resting spot of a witch who has created in one way or another a type of cult of killers over the centuries. You see that? That kind of may explain to you why the hooded killer, like Sira said, the guy became a killer, something like that.
But Sensei Six, I'm still confused. Will I have to watch other movies to make it more sense?
No, not really.
Okay.
So Dina, who's our main character, there we go. That's actually our protagonist, right? Am I right, Sira, on this?
Yep. You got that. I just asked Sensei Google, and you are correct.
Good. You keep Googling stuff here. It's
Sensei
played
Google.
by Kiana Madeira. She was already seen someone like the more murdered out in the distance, thinking she was a target of an unfunny prank. But her AOL, yes, folks, AOL for you folks now, AOL back in the 90s, that's what we used to use.
Oh yeah, it made the most annoying sound ever when you have to connect to the internet. Good times.
Can you make that sound, Ciro?
No, it's the most horrible sound you ever hear.
Good, come on, man. Just try. Just try once.
No. But I did hear like they have a lot of stuff on. They make like little skits that like the older generation, younger generation, they'll play it, and the older generation, you could tell they cringe, and the younger generation, they're just like, what's that sound? Like I don't understand it. Like it's just I think it's implanted in everybody's in the older generation's mind.
Man, that sound was the sound of happiness of us being able to finally get online for us.
Also making sure that the phone line's clear, nobody on the phone.
Why is my phone down? I'm in the middle of a call. What happened? Bam, 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 bam. Something like that.
Yeah, that's.
But
yeah, AOL, like you said, AOL.
So who's using AOL? It's none other than our own Dina's brother Josh, who is well versed in town history of violence. He starts to connect with how the ghost-like figures are part of a pattern, and then they receive. Here's where it gets good. Here's where they introduce 2 characters that you basically, well, can I say you probably didn't like?
Well, throughout the movie, the first part, there was nobody to root for on this. They're just all either very depressed or just they're not good people. Like the 2 characters that you brought up is that they sell drugs.
That's Simon, played by Fred Heschinger.
and the other one also does it. And because the other one, I forgot
And
her
the
name.
the other one, Kate, played by Julia Rimel.
Kate. Yeah. Kate was babysitting and talked to like 2 8-year-old girls that she was babysitting and say, "Hey, this is what you do. You sell this for me." Like it just made it so like the protagonist's friends were just evil, using little kids to. So it just showed that. But when I talked to Sixx more about that, it made a little bit more sense to show, I guess, how kids are on the shady side because it's so depressing and horrible and sad. And so I understood that part. It's just it made it hard for me, I guess, to root for them when everything was going down and the killers were out uh, on there. So that's why in the beginning I kind of had a. But the Ikiana at the beginning, she was very depressed, very just like against the world. Everybody hates. She thinks everybody hates her. Just one of those kind of depressions on there, on that. So I just didn't latch on to any of the characters. I think I latched on more to the killers than I did the actual characters.
That sounds more like you.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually latched into Kate a little bit. I did not like the protagonist. I didn't like Dina at all. For nothing in the day. Maybe later in one of the other 2 movies, but on the first one, I just hated her. Like her screen time, her character. I just hated that character.
It was so depressing. Like, and Sixx and I watch a lot of depressing stuff. Like we watched Sun and Happiness with like Sad Larry, and we think that
What's that? Talk for yourself, man. I'm a happy-go-lucky
yeah,
person. That's why I drink alcohol.
But that one was just, I don't know if I don't think it was like it was a different type, and it seemed like she thought everybody was against her, and it just seemed so bad. I just couldn't latch onto the character.
It just was too much depressing for Zero, even for his standards.
Yeah, even for my standards, and that's pretty low on there. So,
but we're missing somebody else who's important on this cast right now, and that is Sam, played by Olivia Scott, who is, no surprise, Dina's ex-partner who moved to Sunnyvale. And originally inspired Dina to make a bitter mixtape. Yes, there's a little romance breakup thing happening throughout the movie too.
Which explains some of Dina's depressed moment in the beginning of the movie on there. But I do want to bring up that in the beginning of that movie, they really try to push you into the 90s. They play like 3 90s music, three 90s songs within like 10 minutes. It's just, they just put it all together, and it's good songs. It's just, I think they overdid it a little bit on there, like they were forcing it. And that's why I talked to Sixx on that. And throughout the other ones, I know sometimes we disagree, but to me, I like stuff that's smooth, makes sense. And sometimes Sixx is more into like, I like the mystery of it. Sometimes, you don't know everything on the movie because there's mystery to it. But to me, I don't like movies that is forced. If it's forced to me, then I don't get into it. And that's what it seemed like in the beginning.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Take, for example, I think we did this review. Was it Annabelle 3 Asians?
Yeah.
When I'm still trying to figure out how.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now I know what you're talking about on that. When nobody heard her scream when she was on the wheelchair, when she went from the staircase to the storage. That's what you're talking about.
Oh, I can try and get that part. A demon can do an illusion and just make everybody not see anything else. How I know that? Don't ask me. But
you study demon arts, don't you?
But you know what gets me is, how did the demon get stomp on? Was it he got stomp on his fingers?
Yeah.
And just let go. Like, come on, now that to me ruined the movie for me. That
yeah,
right there ruined the
and that's other stuff. Now we can talk about that throughout this month in our other episodes on this. I know we'll talk about one, but I already talked to you about the Insidious situation, and you'll hear more about that later on in another episode. But yeah, that's kind of what we went on that. And so, like Sixx said, when they announce Sam, Kate, and Simon, then you kind of meet like the group main characters in the first movie. Those are like the main character within that movie. They kind of how they group together and work together to, I guess, try and survive, like any
So
slasher movie.
yeah, so the way everything goes is Shadyside goes to a football game, if I'm not mistaken, over to Sunnyvale, and they're at this game, and then they get into an altercation with everybody there. The other ones playing, and they fight. Like every typical '90s movie. The
Rivals. Yeah.
rivals, high schoolers, yeah. So the Sunnyvale dudes are chasing the boss of the Shadyside, and they threw like a what you call it, a big
A
water
water
cooler
cooler.
at the car.
That
And
one escalated so quickly. Like that to me that's attempted murder. Man. That's horrible.
I mean, but that's shady siders for you, shady
I
people.
I get it. I guess they're shady. Yeah, I guess they're shady on that. But it seems sudden. And then like she threw the water cooler, like the big one on there, and then so it hits a car. They freak out and they crash. And then she goes out there. She goes, "Oh my god, you guys! What else do you think they're gonna do? You threw a water cooler at them." I mean, it just. I guess it makes sense because I guess the child characters would do that, but it's like, yeah, you threw a water cooler at them. Of course, they're gonna freak out and crash. But that's
Yeah.
when the something big happens. Six, right?
I mean, I wouldn't call it big, it's just an everyday normal event. I mean, yeah, something big happened. So when Sam gets out of the car, she's crawling right in the woods. Her boyfriend's all messed up on the car. I don't know if the other dude is dead. I think it was another dude on the car. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Not important. And right there where she's at,
No one cares about that dude.
no, nobody cares. I don't even remember the name. So she apparently, when she's crawling, she's in the burial ground of what we talked at the beginning of the episode, the witch, where the witch was buried, and that's where the curse grabs a hold of Sam.
Yep.
So that sets up like whatever happens after that part. Like that's why serial killers will be coming after Sam and only Sam for the moment.
Yeah. She saw like she had the vision when she touched the bone. So like at first when I saw it, I'm like, oh man, she knows too much. They had to get her. You saw too much, little girl. Now it's time for you to die. So yeah, that's when the curse starts for Lucky Sam. She's so lucky. She gets to have all those fans come after her with machetes and daggers and all that. So that's when it starts making it interesting.
Indeed. So what happened after that, Ciro? Take us through the journey now.
Well, I believe through that they because of the water cooler incident, and they're like, "Oh no, you get to go to the hospital now." They went to the hospital, Sam and her boyfriend, and at that time, that's when the other killers start going out looking for Sam. But there's a tip that you see that the killers are going for Dina, and also going for I believe Simon. Was it Simon that they went for?
Yeah, on the street. Yeah.
And so there was a little confusion on that. They're like, oh wow, it's just you think they're just random killers, but then you kind of throughout the thing they explained that they were after Sam's blood, and throughout that incident, Simon and Dina had Sam's blood on their clothes, and so that's what the killers were looking for. So it's a big thing to know because that kind of carries out throughout other movies. But so the killers kind of finally find Sam, and they find her. They find her in the in the hospital, right?
Yeah, she
That's
was
when
in
they.
the
That's
bed,
when they.
and that's when her boyfriend gets killed, like right stabbed from
Yeah,
behind.
yeah, right. Yeah, because throughout that they thought Simon, Dina, and Kate thought that it was her boyfriend messing with them because he said that I'll get you guys back for that. So they thought that he was just pulling a prank. But I think Dina threw that idea out the window once the killer stabbed her Sam's boyfriend. Oh yeah, she's like, oh yep, never mind, it wasn't him. And then they get chased down by the killer. Um,
So
so that's
they end up what, stealing like an ambulance, and then they go out of there.
mhm,
Can't remember well if they go out of there to search again for where the curse was or whatnot.
to get more information, which I don't think they got too much on there. I know throughout that time, Josh, um, he kind of knows a little bit more about the curse because it's been happening for like the last. I think they announced that they were the last 300 years or something like that. That there's been curses going on that, weird times killers come and they're saying it's the curse of Seraphir. So they learn more about that. And so at that time they figure out a plan to try to kill the killers because they're after them. And then one of my favorite scenes, I think prior to that, is when what was it, Ruby? One of the killers' name was Ruby. I think that's why I got more attached to Ruby than anybody else.
Sounds like you getting attached to a serial killer.
Yeah, because I think Simon was for some reason he was alone and he saw this girl on the bench just humming, and throughout that time she attacks him. And the reason that she attacked him was because he had Dina's blood uh, on his jacket, I believe,
And
at
that's
the
how you
time.
fell in love, when she attacked you.
Well, I mean, she had more character. She had more built-in character than the other ones. Like, but anyways, I I carry on. So they kind of have a plan to kill all the killers by kind of trapping them into the school bathroom and then burning it down.
By the way, before you continue, my bad. We're forgetting somebody important. And it's that they go actually to the police station, and we're forgetting about Sheriff Good.
Nick Good. Sheriff
Uh,
Good.
you'll see him at the beginning of the movie in the mall, and also Sunnyvale just giving a speech about how bad it was, what happened over at Shady Side and whatnot. Plus, the kids also go to the police station to tell him also what's happening. So he's
They
another
don't believe him.
character, yeah. But typically, like every typical horror movie, they don't believe him. They don't believe
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
I mean, would you like people from the dead? Like at that time, they were saying that the person that Sheriff Nick Good shot in the head and died on the scene, they're saying that he's chasing them and trying to kill him. So I can see the sheriff be like, "You're crazy. I shot him in the head. He's dead." But
Plus,
yeah,
the kids got history, like Sita said, about selling drugs and stuff. So
yeah, they don't have the best history on there on that, and so it's just after that they go. Like I said, he goes to the school bathroom. I don't know why a school bathroom. I don't think they ever announced that, but I guess they're gonna go somewhere that they know. Then they burn down the bathroom, and then they go in there. Like, oh, job is done. But we never know. It's not done like that. You can't just burn them down. They get rebuilt. Well, in this case, the bodies get rebuild themselves. So all the flesh goes back together, and there's the killers again. And so one of the so after that they lock themselves in the classroom and they go. That's when you kind of see the shitty side. They go, you know what, Sam? They're only after you. You go out there. We'll turn around. We'll let you. We'll you just die for us. You're a good person. Just die for us, and we can go carry on. Which I'm not Yeah, I'm not upset with that. They're kids. I guess the kids do that, especially in the Shady Side. They're only going to care about themselves throughout that. Um, but I think at that time, Josh said he had another idea, because he had somebody in the 70s that had the same situation, that she had killers after him and she survived. And then so they call her later, and then they realized the reason she survived is she did die. She just came back to life after she died. And so then they have a plan saying, okay, well, let's kill Sam, but we could do it, and we just bring her back to life, and then everything's gone.
And everything goes to shit.
Oh yeah, it goes bad. They go to supermarkets. I guess they just want to go to different areas each time. It's like, you know what? Police station, hospital, school. Let's go to the supermarket this time.
This is where I got kind of pissed because one of my characters was written off.
But she was good. I like her death was good. Her death was good. Not because I wanted her to die, but
yeah, she had a good death in the sense of it was
she probably had one of the best ones of the whole series, if I'm not mistaken. We can talk about that later more in the series 2 and 3, but I think she had one of the best ones. But they make a plan that they have pills because Simon's more knowledgeable on the pills. So he's like, this is what's going to kill you. This is what's going to make you feel no pain. This is what's going to stop your heart. And this is what's going to bring you back to life. Do this. 5 minutes later, do this. And he had a plan. And Kate, Simon, and Josh would protect her or distract the monsters by putting blood
on themselves.
So that they'll be after her. Because they learned that in the beginning, or midway through the episode, midway through the movie, that they realized that, if they put blood on, they're after the blood, not the actual person. So if they have her blood on it, they're going to be after them. So they do that throughout the whole series. Kate kind of shows her badass self, and shows, hey, that's good, do that. And then so that's I'll let you tell, because you're so sad about it. So I'll let you tell her how she died.
Who died? Look, Kate died on the goddamn meat grinder. Like her. Well, first she got stabbed, right? She got stabbed first.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got thrown into the damn meat grinder head first. And you could see her head just grinding down everything, and then just stop right there at the mouth or neck. Hate that damn killer. Then Simon gets what? Simon gets caught with the axe.
Yeah, right in the head. Right in the head. Like he was a zombie trying to kill the brain.
Josh is still alive.
Yeah.
And then, Dina's trying to bring back Sam in all this mess. And right then, when the killer's about to get them, she actually brings Sam back to life.
Yep.
And you would think that everything's over, right? So what they do is that they get up and everything looks like it's back to normal, but in reality, we all know how it goes. It isn't.
Yes. And at the end of the movie, they have Sam try to kill Dina. I think the last scene is Sam stabs her in the stomach.
Yes, right on her house.
Yeah, right.
I think Dina was on the phone. When she turns around, she gets stabbed right there.
Yeah, she was on the phone with the person she talked to with the 1970 situation, and she's like, "Oh, we did it. We did it. We saved it." She goes, "No, it's not over yet. Trust me." And that's when she turned around and Sam stabbed her. So that's basically the movie on there. Again, if you haven't watched it, I would watch it. I'll explain more in a sec why this isn't my favorite movie, but I do want to state that the series is really good, and I'm glad Sixx talked me into watching the next two, because the next two is much better, and I think it's clever on some ways and how they put everything together, and it actually makes sense throughout the whole. if you watch the whole series and how everything kind of went.
I'm surprised you actually stick around and watch the whole trilogy. I think you
I
were gonna
I,
be bummed up after the first one,
I almost didn't. I almost didn't.
but you did. So kudos to you, sir. Kudos to you.
Yeah, and just to explain, like I think I kind of discussed a little bit on there, but like there are several things. One, it seemed too forced. I talked about that. I'm not going to go over it, but it seemed forced to me that they're trying to make you have the settings in the 90s instead of actually showing you it. It seemed forced. Second, I just wasn't into the characters. There's one thing that brought up that didn't make sense to me was I know I brought up with when they figure out that burning the killers didn't work, and they say, you know what, Sam, go ahead, go out there, and they're after you, not us, like the selfish, shady side way. But like 10 minutes later, they go, oh, you know what? We'll sacrifice our life for you. Like it was a full 360 and it made no sense. Like nothing else happened. What they stated on the movie is, oh, you risked your life for us. So you're good people. We're going to risk our life for you now. But like I said, it still didn't make any sense because in the beginning, she said, you know, they're only after you. So we don't want to be involved on that. So the characters, I just wasn't, they didn't grow on me. I mean, not even a little bit throughout the movie. Like I said, I was more interested in the killers, and I was like, oh, I wish I knew their backstory than anything. And so yeah, and then that's like the two main things that kind of got me into that I wasn't into this movie.
Well, I will say basically I agree with you on some parts where kind of look kind of forced. I do agree with that. Other than that, like I say, I didn't like the protagonist. I didn't like Dina. I was kind of into Kate. Got mad when she got killed, but she died a cool death, I guess. I did dig the 90s vibe because I grew up watching 90s slashers, so that I did like. Other than that, yeah, unless you watch the whole trilogy, like the first part kind of leaves you like in a little limbo, I would say, like some kind of limbo.
Unfulfilled. I wasn't happy. I wasn't like, oh, it was a good movie. I was happy to watch that. I felt unfulfilled. Like it was just, yeah, it wasn't good to me.
So with that being said, Zero, what did you give part 1? 1 to 5. 1 being worse, 5 being good.
I know we talked about this last time a little bit, and I know I put it low. I'll give it a little higher because I know what comes out of it more. I'll give it a 2.
Wow, that's actually more than originally expected. So I guess it's grown on you a little bit.
I think I said 1.5 when you and me talked, so I'm gonna give it a 2.
Plus, folks, I got a knife stuck to his throat right now. I told him if he doesn't give it something higher than a 1, I will cut his throat.
Please send help, please.
Anyway, what should I give it? From 1 to 5, I give it a 10.
You're kidding, man. You're kidding. You're about to get fired right on the spot.
Of course I'm kidding. There's no 10, it's 1 to 5, so I give it a 5. All right, I'm kidding again. It's not a 5. It's actually, Zero's so pissed right now. He's like, you gotta be BSing me. Like, a 5? Really? A 5? Calm down, man. Just calm down. I'll give it a 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
I forgot. What did you give the bridge movie that we talked about last year?
Oh man, that was last year. You expect me to remember?
I thought you gave it a 3.5 too. I'm surprised that you didn't give it the same ranking as that bridge movie. That bridge movie had its flaws, but it was way better than this first one. I can't believe I can't think of the name right now. It's the bridge. Staircase on the Bridge.
I know the movie. I just don't remember what I gave it.
I guess I just don't respect your score. But I will go this that they did announce like IMDb gave it 6.2 out of 10. And then also Rotten Tomatoes gave it 83%. So, people are enjoying it, and that's good. It just wasn't for me on that.
And that's two different styles, folks. If it doesn't make sense, Zero doesn't like it. To me, I gotta figure out what the hell's going on.
But like I said, with you like the mystery. Sometimes you don't have to have everything explained to you on that. Sometimes the mystery is something that you're excited about. For me, it's not. I want everything explained to me at the end of the movie, so I know what happened throughout the movies. So, like for example, like you said with Annabelle Creation, you said that I think there's a scene that she was on the wheelchair and she was screaming her lungs out when she was walking there, and her family was maybe 50 yards, maybe 30 yards away from them having a picnic, and they didn't turn around, they didn't look, they just carried on with things. But they never explained anything to that. But you said, oh, that's the demon magic. They can kind of hypnotise you.
No, it's not.
Think they're screaming.
It's not magic, man. It's illusions.
Okay. Illusions. Okay, I'm sorry. Illusions. So I guess the girl thinks she's screaming, but she really isn't. I guess that's what the illusion is.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it is.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But those are our score rankings. Look forward to watching our next episode, which is going to be part 2. And again, just we're going to have like an October scary movie / game / anything horror related episodes throughout October, and we're going to kind of have some more than we normally have for each month. So make sure that you do check out our Facebook page where we'll have all those posted. We'll have it'll go out to Spotify, Apple Music, Apple, Google podcasting. Also check out our Facebook page, 60XP. We'll have that updated to show you all our episodes. So, and then also check out our YouTube channel, which will have more than two videos out there. I promise we'll have more later on. But
he's the one making the promises, not me.
Yeah, well, it's on the works. I just want to make sure it's good for you guys. Then make sure. Yeah, that's all I have. Sixx, you have anything to add before we sign out?
Nope. Just make sure you tune in to the next Halloween episode, or we end your life.
We'll get you.
Yeah, that sounds nicer. I guess, yeah, you could go with that.
Yeah, don't want to scare him too much.
Oh man, already me working next to you, that's already scary. I'm amazed I'm still alive.
Yeah. Yes. For now at least. So
for the 60XP, oh my god, now I sound like the news. Are we the news now? Is this the news?
No. I don't do. Well, yeah, no, we're not.
No, we're not. Unless you actually believe what we say. So, for the 60XP, this is Sixx signing out on this Halloween edition alongside
Zero signing out. Later. Thank you for watching. This is Sarah from the 60XP. If you enjoy, make sure you subscribe and punch on the notification bell to get notified for all new videos that come out. Later.